I had an opportunity to look at the defensive backs that they picked. I'm going to start with Terrion Arnold first. Had an opportunity to watch this young man, look at some of his film, be able to break him down a little bit and see what to expect out of him, not only transitioning from Alabama and coming into the big leagues, coming to the NFL, but also what I'm going to be looking at to see how he grows and also how he handles some of the things I think not only he needs to get better at, but really looking at some of the things he does well. I started to watch really how he played the football. On this one, he's going to play man to man down at the bottom of the screen. Eyes are looking back. He's tracking the football. He knows exactly where it is. You know he's going to play a little bit more physical. He's got his hands on the wide receiver, and that's allowed in the NFL. You know, one thing I am going to look at to see, because he does use his hands quite a bit, staying away from the pass interference. We see that a lot with the younger players who are a little bit more aggressive when they come into the NFL. But what I like about what Terrion does, he figures out how to track the football, how to get himself positioned. And I like on the underthrow or some of the passes at the high point, he's going to attack the receiver. He closes a gap and he forces him closer to the sideline. That's a veteran move. When you see a receiver that's widening, the more you can force him to the sideline, the more you make it to where he doesn't have enough room to make the catch in bounds. Or if he does, his room of error is very small. So that was pretty good for him on this particular play. And you'll see it again, seeing it all the way through, all the way to the end of the ball. He's playing, he's pulling on the jersey a little bit. This questionable, maybe a little bit of PI, but either way, I still like what he does. Here, we're going to see him in the running game. We want to know if you're going to tackle. We're going to see a receiver. He's coming around for the reverse. You're going to also get a blocker that's going to come out and take him on. You're going to get another, guard tackle is going to pull. And then the safety is going to be high. So he's got to take on two players. And he's got to make a decision, because now this player is going to make the cut off of what his blocker does. So when we see this, let's see how he positions himself. When he's positioning here, a couple things I saw here. Not afraid to take on the contact. He's taking on the blockers. He forces, because he's playing man outside. He's got to defend all this territory back here. Does a good job. Wants to maintain outside leverage. But when he breaks inside of this guy, two things have to happen. If for whatever reason he doesn't make this tackle, this receiver is going to make his way up in the lane here, and he's going to be able to have a clear path to the end zone. If he undercuts, he gives up this outside leverage. If this running back or the receiver cuts back, now you can see he has nothing but real estate out here with blockers ahead. And there's only one safety in the middle that can stop this play. So there's a couple things that's got to be there. If you're going to undercut and you're going to try and break and make that running back or that receiver cut back inside, you got to be a sure tackler. And on this one, he makes the play. And because of that, he saves a big play. A couple things I look at on this release. We always talk about a defensive back. And as a wide receiver, when I'm looking at how do I attack his technique. The minute I see a defensive back turn their butt to the sideline, I know he's got me in man, and he probably doesn't have inside help. Receivers in the NFL will do pre-reads, and then they will also learn how to attack certain techniques to force you into a vulnerable position. And the reason I say that is because right here, the receiver, he's looking like he's going to stretch this way, but you can see how he's leaning back. The minute Arnold turns his hips, this guy could come in, and there's not a ton of slants that we see in the NFL, but if he decides to run a slant, this is a technique that's easy to beat because he can cut across the momentum of the defensive back in Arnold. But here, because this is a free release, he's got him man to man. He's going to then mirror him all the way down the field. But as he plays him down the field, you can see how he locks up with his hand. He locates the football. And by doing that, that's what makes him really good. And I think that's the thing that's going to save him as he's playing. It's like, can he locate the football? When he sees that player is going upfield, how is he reading the wide receiver? And will he fall for certain routes and certain techniques and tools that a lot of these veteran wide receivers will use against him? Because I'm telling you from this experience, that's what I would do. I would attack the vulnerabilities and the fact that these guys were a little green coming in. I would look at where their weaknesses were, and you try and expose that. I really like this play. And as we take a look at it at a tighter angle, is the fact that he plays the ball at the high point. Here's the ball. He knows that he's getting there slightly late, And while he's going to try and play through this guy without pass interferencing with him, he's going to play through and he's going to play on his hands. He's going to play on his arms. When you can play on this guy's hands, receivers that are hands catchers, the best place you can knock the ball out is not attacking necessarily their hands, because our hands are really, really strong. It's when you pull on our arms, because you move our hands this way, which allows us to not really get our hands aren't able to really grasp the ball like we want. So that's a good play. No pass interference, playing through for the football, but also being conscious of, if he's a little bit late, then he's going to play the arms. He's going to get the hands separated from the football. And then even on top of that, he's going to make sure by coming back and swiping the ball away, having the presence to say, you know what, this play isn't over until this play is over. So continuing to finish the play itself is a great thing. So those are the marks that I see. And I think when I look at why the Detroit Lions look to pick this particular player, he was one of the top 2 defensive backs in the draft. It was because of his ability to be aggressive at the line. It was his ability to have coverage and also to compete. But I think also the fact that he plays the ball well, not only at the high point, but he plays the back shoulder fade. But there's some things he's going to have to work on in terms of his man coverage and his bump, and understanding that it's not going to be as easy a free release. And then some of these players have a lot of more tools than what you find on the collegiate level.